Love makes people do the craziest things, like run off one of the most dangerous foes to wreak havoc among all of Muni. Yeah, that. Welcome back to Muni Mayhem on the Roundtable. I'm AwestruckVox, and you know we had to talk about Globgor, the monster love of Eclipsa butterfly, who was revealed to be crystallized within the monster temple at the end of Conquer. What a way to end the season. Now, we actually made a video discussing what could have happened to Globgor, and I came to the conclusion that he was either executed or crystallized, and I'm excited that it's the latter. Now, I speculated he may have been imprisoned, crystallized, executed due to owning the title King of Monsters, perhaps being the monster's frontman for one of the many battles raged between them and the Mumins within Muni's history. Yet, that's not exactly what I want to talk about. Instead, I want to draw attention to why Globgor will be one of the most dangerous, powerful, and threatening antagonists within all of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Because going off the expression on his face, he's not going to be happy he was crystallized and separated from his family for hundreds of years. Nuh-uh, there's definitely a story to be told here. And a lot of my deduction and reasoning actually stems from Glosaric. Props to everybody who actually predicted Globgor was the name of Eclipsa's husband, and that this entire time, Glosaric was just faking it, stringing everybody along. Both of those seem like likely aspects, but I did not want to believe it. The Globgor one just seemed too clever, too genius, in which case, I got to stop underestimating the show. But as for the Glosaric faking it thing, it was just kind of redundant and annoying. I get it, Glosaric is one step ahead of everybody else, but pretending to be mentally impaired for an entire season, yeah, that's not cool. But that's under the assumption Glosaric's behavior was that of someone who's mentally impaired, and not another misdirect. After being restored in the Magic Sanctuary, the only phrase Glosaric could recite is Globgor, and could only demonstrate basic motor skills, or very feral-like qualities. Chewing on inedible objects, running on all fours, just being very careless and destructive. And with the information we have now, that Globgor is Eclipsa's monster love, it has me reevaluate everything about Glosaric throughout this season. We know he's someone who claims to not have a side, something that he explained to Toffee. But if you ask me, Glosaric does have a side, and it's the side of unity. Humans and monsters working together. Hell, I believe that's a strong reason why he clearly has a bias for Eclipsa, as she's someone who clearly shares that sentiment. According to Glosaric, he was trying to explain to everyone for months that Eclipsa was going to reunite with Globgor, which again, seems like a troll, and he definitely could have been more direct with it. However, Glosaric's message wasn't just a verbal one, but rather an actual physical demonstration to indicate Globgor would soon be awakened. So yes, the chewing, the slobbering, the running on all fours, and overall acting rather animalistic was all Glosaric sending signals that Globgor will return, by acting like Globgor. All of this is how Globgor behaves, which definitely spells trouble. Glosaric merely imitating Globgor was a huge inconvenience. He was very much a nuisance that a lot of people could not stand, especially Marco. Yet, oddly enough, the only character who knew how to tame Glosaric to calm him down was Eclipsa. And when you lay everything out on the table, that's not a coincidence. Rather, Eclipsa knew Glosaric was imitating Globgor, and took the appropriate action to calm him down. And while it isn't one-to-one, it is similar to how she rubs Globgor's projection in the butterfly trap. Although Globgor wasn't exactly ferocious or on a rampage here. Still, if Glosaric's behavior here is reflective of Globgor's, considering his scale and proportions, he's a naturally destructive dude. That's not to say he's going to be an incompetent villain, however, nor that raw strength alone will be his upper hand. As I want to reiterate, from what we can gather, Globgor definitely has a higher power over other monsters. He evidently resided in a temple that was notable enough for the Magical High Commission and Moon to take extreme caution when anyone inhabits the facility. Back in Star Crushed, Moon was already under the impression Ludo was up to no good, but used her location as further evidence to portray Ludo's motives as completely sinister. But from what we can tell, Ludo had no idea this temple belonged to Globgor, just that he was cold and had nowhere to go. But since we're aware Toffee was pulling the strings, He's the one who without a doubt guided Ludo there. And I'm sure Toffee knew Globgor was hidden away in that temple crystallized, so we can only ponder what his true game plan was. The significance of the Monster Temple could be seen yet again in Monster Bash, with Roundtable crashing the party with royal guards, pointing fingers at Star for being up to no good, all because she chose the Monster Temple as the location for her party. I also want to note, Romulus almost compromised that this is Globgor's domain after being chastised by Star, almost spilling the beans. His snake hands came in clutch. This temple isn't some makeshift hut either. It has waterfalls, pillars, statues, sculptures, mural depictions. This is a mark of wealth, serving as a parallel to Muni Castle. Speaking of mural depictions, let's call back to the mural in St. Olga's School for Wayward Princesses that debuted in the episode of the same name. They lingered on this shot, and at the time, it was mainly to drive the point home St. Olga's is a very creepy, eerie place. But that didn't stop people from theorizing about it. The greater meaning of everything in St. Olga's. And rightfully so. There was clearly an endgame in mind. It would be a travesty if this didn't lead somewhere. Well, as we covered, scattered across a few comic book shops were trading card decks of all 13 Queens of Muni that would be covered in the upcoming spellbook. On the back of Eclipsa's trading card was this illustration. The exact same monsters in the exact same position. Only this time, the backdrop is replaced with Globgor exhaling fire from his mouth. This imagery is powerful, bone-chilling, and definitely gives off the vibe of destruction. It confirms my suspicions. This is the commander of all monsters. Their ruler, their savior, their ultimate weapon. Mina Loveberry dubbed Meteora as the most dangerous monster in all of Muni, and it makes sense. Her DNA comprises of Globgor species and Mumin. Due to magic, we see how powerful Mumins, especially the butterfly family, can be. An antagonistic monster of magic just sounds like a recipe for disaster. For Meteor to earn that title would mean she's more powerful than her own father. But now that she's regressed to an infant, and it seems Globgor is about to take the stage, that title has reverted back to his own right. And from the information we can gather from the Grandma Room, and earlier episodes such as Independence Day, I'm inclined to believe this mural depiction and this illustration of Globgor is in direct correlation with Solaria the Monster Carver, the event her tapestry is based off of. The timeline of the events they celebrate on Independence Day is very unclear, but we know there's a great monster massacre. The monsters attempted to regain control of Muni Kingdom, which fits with the tapestry's description of "a castle stormed is a hero born." I believe Globgor is the one who commanded his forces to attack Muni Castle, to regain control of what was once theirs. Yet his forces were defeated, thus he refrained, taking his loss in stride and just making do. Eventually he met Eclipsa and the rest is history. They had definitely underplayed the importance of Eclipsa running away with a monster, because at face value, that really doesn't sound that bad. This is a point that was made clear throughout the series, and I think the main reason is that the Magical High Commission is too afraid to express which monster Eclipsa ran off with. Because if Globgor was just a run-of-the-mill guy, it would not be an issue. But the king of monsters, the most powerful monster, that's a different story. And for all we know, Eclipsa's relationship with Globgor could have been what ended the fighting. Or perhaps Globgor had plans to once again attack Muni, changing his worldview after encountering Eclipsa, growing close with her, forming a bond with her, and falling in love with her, gaining a better understanding of Mumins, and deciding, yeah, we're not going to attack. But Muni and the Magical High Commission, jumping to conclusions, assumed nothing good can come out of this relationship, deciding to strike and catching all of them off guard, crystallizing Eclipsa and Globgor, and recovering Meteora to King Shastakan, who, as we know, swapped her out for a peasant girl. But with the reawakening of Globgor, things are about to change. He's going to have another change of heart, this one of a more sinister tone. He will not be happy with what's happened to his family, and even if Eclipsa may try to reason with him, it won't be enough. Guys, I'm not sure if Globgor will be the final villain or the only villain we'll have left, but I think he'll be the ultimate one, outclassing Ludo, Toffee, and Meteora through pure strength alone. His ranking and power among monsters, giving Star and the Kingdom of Muni a lot more than what they bargained for. But this is where I turn the conversation to you guys. What do you think? Do you agree Globgor will be our biggest threat so far? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below or tweet them directly to me at AwestruckVox or at the Roundtable on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Roundtable Vids. If you want to help us grow, join the Roundtable on Patreon. Get access to exclusive perks and have your name featured at the end of the video like all these beautiful, wonderful people. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications, stay in the loop with all things Star. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. AwestruckVox, out.